Welcome to Backstage with John Wilson, a podcast where we go behind the scenes to look at the Christian contemporary music industry, music festivals, and real-life encouraging stories from our experience. Our goal is to display how God is using Christian music to transform lives and to take church outside the walls. For more info about Light the Way Ministry, go to lightthewayministry.com. And with that, here's this week's episode.
Welcome again to another episode of Backstage with John. I am your host here at Light the Way office and headquarters in Missouri, and I'm super excited. Joining me today on today's show is Adam Agee from the Newsboys. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, man, we're excited to have you on. We've had the privilege of doing many shows together in the past few years, and a lot of new things have gone on.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. What do you mean?
Yeah, man, it's obviously it's out there, with Michael Tate stepping down and you stepping into that role. Let's just jump in it. We were the first show 2 days, I think, before that announcement came out, and we're all like, what do we do? But yeah, talk a little bit about that. Tell us what you can tell us and the experience, because that night we were both there. It was a powerful night. And yeah.
Oh man, we are forever linked that way for sure.
Yep.
Because I think we found out maybe like a day or two before you did.
Mm-hmm.
Like seriously, like that's how quick it all happened. And I don't know what you were feeling, but we were all just like, I don't even know. Do we keep doing the shows? We've got them booked and we got good tickets sold. Do we try it out? And then man, I'll never forget that whole process. Jeff and I kind of put together a list of what we thought would work. Still wound up being like 22 songs, and half of them I had never sang before, and so I was like, okay, it's gonna be great. But then we went through rehearsals, and everybody that was there, our whole management team was there, and a bunch of people were there just to kind of gather around us. And I think after we did that first run through, everybody was their countenance changed a little bit from like completely stressed and fearful to like hopeful, like maybe this might be okay. And then by the time we ran it again, right before the show, everybody's like, okay, I think we're going to be okay. And then something happened during that show that is just the only way you can explain it is it was just the Holy Spirit just descended on that arena during that moment. I get chills thinking about it right now. Like it's just, man, the couple thousand people that were there. I tell this story every show now because it just felt like there were 10,000 people singing together, and it felt like they were just giving us a big hug. And it was just the coolest moment for the four of us to feel so much love from that crowd in Missouri, and also just to feel the presence of the Holy Spirit in that place. It was undeniable and it was special. I will never forget it. And it really did kind of, I guess, give us that confirmation of like, you know what, Newsboys are far from done. And I said something actually in that moment that I've been saying at shows too. And it's that sometimes the messenger might change, but the message remains the same. And we've just held on to that as kind of our rallying cry through this season. And at each subsequent show, I don't know how many we've played, probably played 10 or a dozen shows after that. And it's been just the coolest thing to see how people miss Michael, and he was a part of the band for 15 years. And that's, a great thing, but also the excitement of they're still here for Newsboys and celebrating the entire history of Newsboys and potentially what we have to come. It's been awesome. It's been stressful, but it's been awesome.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't imagine what it was like for you internally that night, but when I go back and I think about it, I remember when I got the call, when management called and said, this happened. Actually, no, that's not what happened. What happened was we were in our internal post meeting show about this coming up. We do a post meeting with our team, and I'm like, all right, we got to be here, and do this and this and this. And then someone in the meeting obviously was not paying attention and scrolling on Facebook, and they saw a post, and they're like, Michael Tate dropped out of Newsboys, and I thought everyone was playing a joke on me. I'm like,
Oh man.
no, no, someone would have called
Oh
me. Someone would have told me. And then everyone got on their phones, and I'm like, what is the world ending right now? I mean, what's going on? And then next
yeah.
thing you know, we get the call and email. I mean, it all happened so quickly. And so being there that night, it was it was so different, but not in a bad way. It was like you said, there was a bond that was made not only with us, but with your team. When we saw everyone come in, and their amount of support that was there from the rehearsal day to the day of, it was a beautiful thing. And this is stuff that the audience doesn't see, right? They
Yeah.
they
That's
they
your
see
backstage stuff for sure.
that totally the backstage stuff. And from the promoter standpoint, I'm filtering calls left and right, from the ticket buyers to
Yeah.
other promoters saying, John, how are you doing this? How's it going? What's it sound like? Is it different? I'm like, I think this Adam guy, I think he's going to make it. I think he's got the.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness. But that's gotta been uh I mean, that just goes to show that we all have our different challenges in life. And it's how we react to those challenges, the overcomeness that can come out of it. And you guys shared that, and it became a beautiful night of worship. If anything, it's the like you said, it's a different messenger, but the message is the same. I would ditto that, but I would also add, it seems like there's a little bit more uh worship through the Holy Spirit with it. When I watched you that night at the end, you just dropped down to your knees, and it was just like you gave everything you had that night. And it was just like you had nothing else to give. And I watched the Holy Spirit move, and the audience, oh wow, I've never seen such a dedicated audience and fan that night. And I'm sure you hadn't either, but it was a beautiful moment. It really was.
I'll never forget it. I will never forget it. And I've probably done 2,000 shows in my
Yeah.
life in 25 years. And it's something that you can't really explain. And yeah, I mean, you're right that I was at the point of mental and physical and spiritual exhaustion on
Mm.
stage in that moment, to where I was just like, first of all, I was like, this is going so well. It's so good. And I was finally past the point in the show, because we only had, I don't know, 2 or 3 songs left. And I'm like, we're doing it. And
Mm.
and we're not just scraping by. Like, this is incredible.
Mhm.
And it was overwhelming. And I was in just such a posture of gratefulness and exhaustion,
Mhm.
but just that I was completely emptied of myself, like completely, to the point where I had to give the whole thing over to God the whole time anyway. And I know it sounds cliche sometimes to people, but
Mhm.
it is definitely true in this case, that there's no way that I could have been able to handle all of that in that short amount of time, in those moments, and to do what we were able to do just on my own. I mean, there was definitely some intervention
Mm.
from the heavens on that one. And
Totally.
I just, man, I'll just never forget it. The way that crowd would not stop. They just wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
We could have played for another 3 hours and they would have been with us.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think what was going through my head is he going to remember all the lyrics to songs that he's not sung before? Like, is this, I just like, it's crazy. It's crazy. But, props to you all, the anointing that's on all four of you, and the leadership you guys have that's wrapped around you. We saw a side of the music industry that most people don't ever see. if ever, and it was a great moment. And so props to you guys.
We
And
are we're a team. I mean, from the top down. I mean, from our management to the band to our crew to everybody that works with us. And it's just we're all a family. And so when we're going through a crisis in a family, we rallied around each other and work together. And that's just the way we do it.
yeah, no, absolutely, 100%. So with this new change, you kind of taken on that role, the front man of this beautiful group. I mean, new music, new cuts. I think, matter of fact, you guys just posted not too long ago on Instagram. You did a recut of a single, how many times I think, or something like that. Talk about that. Like, are you guys happen to go through and recut a lot of the music, or is this giving you an opportunity not only to do that, but bring out your own sound that you've been holding back for a while and having that opportunity?
Yeah, we did go back in and I just recut vocals on How Many Times. That was
Mhm.
actually the first song that I wrote for this album when I joined Newsboys. So
Wow.
and I had been singing it live, lead singing it live anyway the whole
Hmm.
time, and so
Hmm.
that one was the easiest and most natural. And so it wound up. I had done a lot of lead vocals anyway, just as a map for when Tay got in the studio, but just
Hmm.
went back in and touched up some of that stuff, and we had that already done. And since we had just sent the single out like a week before we found out he was leaving, we figured it would be appropriate to go back in and recut those vocals and send out a new single as this is the way the band sounds now.
Hmm. Hmm.
And we haven't really recut any other stuff. We did a couple of versions of other things, but the other anything that was going to come out on part two that he had sang on already, obviously went back and redid lead vocals
Yeah.
on those. But the rest of the album it'll stay the same on all the platforms and everything.
Yeah.
But part two or whatever is coming next, we had some songs already done that we will release, and then yeah, moving forward, it's going to be interesting and exciting to kind of see what the sound is with just the four of us as a
Hmm.
band. The other three guys, Jeff, Jody, and Duncan, have been in the band 30 plus years, and so they've all kind of got their thing that they do, and I've been on the road with them for 10 years, and so
Hmm.
we have a great chemistry as friends and bros anyway.
Yeah.
So making music together, we like a lot of the same music, but we're all just eclectic and different enough to where when those things come together, I think it's gonna be really fun. And you get a little preview of that on this Worldwide Revival album, part one, because I was able to be involved in some of the production and some of the writing and everything like that.
Right.
So, we can draw from different spots. So it's a little bit of a preview of what it will eventually sound like.
Yeah. So have you been thinking, now that you're kind of leading vocals on all these new tour, new music, things like that? Have you been thinking, what kind of signature look can I now come up with? Like, what have you figured out something, or are you just gonna just do it?
Man, I'm too old for that. Like I've been doing this too long for that. You either like me for what I look like now, or that's it. Um, but no, man, it has been fun to go back now, because like when Peter left, Tate didn't really love doing the old Newsboy stuff. He wanted to do new stuff and not really throw it back that much, just because stylistically it was so different than Peter. But me, like I would say that I love the old school Newsboy stuff, and so I
Mhm.
I really am excited to dig through, find a couple of those gems that maybe people haven't heard live in a long time, and resurrect some of those songs and bring back some of the old school stuff, as well as obviously playing the hits
Mhm.
and wanting to give everybody the songs they want to hear, but maybe dig into that back catalog a little bit as well. We would
Yeah.
playing brand new music and then go back in time and play
Yeah.
some of the stuff that people loved back then.
Well, if my memory serves me right, I think you did maybe a couple of the old school stuff that night too.
Oh yeah,
And
we did a lot. We did like Shine and Breakfast
yeah,
and Take Me to Your Leader, It Is You, like just something beautiful, like bunch of great
yeah.
old songs.
And the overall response that we were getting on our side was it was so refreshing to hear those come back out on stage again. So again, only the Holy Spirit can do what he did that night. And we're just thankful that we were, I wouldn't even say we were the guinea pig. I think I would say we were the blessed ones to have that
Yeah,
experience. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
but hey, like you said, you got a half a dozen shows under your belt now, since this change. The tour's going strong. More dates are coming in, more things, more exciting things are happening. You guys have been very busy, with just kind of almost like a rebrand, a new look in a sense. Talk a little bit about like what is your schedule looking like now, since the beginning of the year, outside of shows, outside of tours. I mean, are you in the studio? Is there, can we hear, like, is there a new song going to be coming? Are you working on anything that you can share?
yeah. We've got. I've been in the studio a lot, so it's been, the first couple of weeks were just kind of frantic and crazy trying to get it all sorted out, and just trying to relay the message of what's going on in the band in the proper way as we move through that. But then I would be in the studio, like if we played shows on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'd be in the studio on Monday through Thursday almost, just trying
Wow.
to get new stuff cut and try to finish out these songs that we have. And we've got at least four new ones that are done, and then working on some more stuff for you guys to hear hopefully very soon. Excited about this single that just went out, and we've been doing a lot of work trying to figure out. We haven't done an official photo shoot, but we had some photos from our last one that we were able to kind of retool and use. And
Hmm.
so it's been a whirlwind, and I'm finally able to breathe a little bit for the first time. Where I, like, this week is spring break, and so I got to just like go camping with my kids for a couple days and just turn everything off, and it was really
Wow.
nice. Um, but yeah, we're looking forward to. I love the studio. I love creating,
Mm.
and I love being a part of the writing process and the vision of what this Newsboys season is going to look like. And I love
Hmm.
trying to involve everybody in it as much as possible, so that it's not just grabbing a bunch of songs from outside writers and seeing which song wins. It's like, no, what does the band have to say? Like, why are we still
Yeah.
here? Why are we doing what we're doing? And so hopefully you'll hear a little bit of that as we move forward.
Yeah, no, that's great. So, what could be something that you, if you go back into your memory bank, if you will, what could be, what sticks out to you or what pops in your mind of maybe a funny moment, something that maybe was an embarrassing moment for you that you've done that you're just like, I can't believe that just happened, that you would be willing to share, to our audience, that just first thing that pops in your mind? It could be funny, it could be horrible, but how did you overcome it or whatever?
There are far too many that are just there are too many stories. I don't even know. Some of them are not even appropriate. So I don't even know like what.
We can
Man.
bleep that out. We can bleep it out in post.
There are so many stories, man. Like, it's just crazy. Like, I remember one time, like, I just got to go. I'll give you a highlight of a couple of them. Like,
Okay.
one time we're playing in Rocket Town and like having a blast. It's a venue in Nashville. It's like a club, and we're raging. It's our last song, and I climb up on the drum riser and up on the drums, and I jump off the drums like I did a lot back in the day. And I jump and I land on this cable, and I just snap my ankle, and my ankle just basically breaks right there. And I finish out the song, and thank you, good night, walk backstage and go to the ER. That's like, that's it was bad. And so I was in a boot for the rest of the tour and everything, but it was, that was a
Oh.
mess. One time when we were in South Carolina, and I won't tell the hotel because they probably still are looking for us, but we were on like the 10th floor of this hotel, and we had played an event. It was like this big youth group event in the ballroom at the bottom of the hotel. And I remember two of us were in one room and two of us were in a room just next door in the hallway. And it's like 1 a.m, and we'd only been in there for like an hour because we got done late with everything. And I hear that these guys running through, and they're pounding on the door next door. And so I text the guys, I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, our room is flooded. And I'm like, flooded? What do you mean? And so I guess one of the guys had used the restroom. The
Oh,
toilet just kept running, and it had flooded this hotel all the way down to like the sixth floor. Like it was like coming through the walls, through the light fixtures. And so we basically just we got our stuff out, got in the van, and took off.
no.
It was so bad. Like, oh, they're definitely still looking for us,
Oh,
15 years
you.
later. But
So this segment is not brought to you by Hilton Hotel or anything.
no, no, it's bad. Oh man.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, you heard it here, folks. You heard it here first. Wow. Well, I tell you what, it's been an honor to really just to get to know you guys on a personal level. I think it was a couple years ago you guys toured with us and did all of our festivals as headlining, and that was an awesome. Do you remember our festival in Olive Branch
yeah,
that the tornado came through?
yes. Oh, that was that was incredible. We were in the bus watching the carnage. Like as it came through, we're in the bus and we're watching like tents flipping over and the rain is just like, and of course I'm like, my guitars. But like our poor crew is out there trying to box stuff up and they're just drenched and soaked and getting hit by debris. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, in my 9 years of doing outdoor festivals, that was the first time that's ever happened. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
I had no fingernails. I still have PTSD over it.
Oh, dude. We played we've played hundreds of festivals outdoors and had storms, whatever. It passes through, and then everybody either has to go to their car, they come back, or they just wait it out, or whatever.
Yeah.
Happens all the time. And this was like
Mm-mm.
it was crazy. I thought like our bus, like it's leaking down through the AC units in the bus, like it's our bus is soaked. We're just like, I don't know what's gonna happen. It was crazy.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's not going to happen on May 9th when you come to Olive Branch again. So we got to redeem ourselves there. You know what I mean? So,
Yes.
man, I'm super excited for this show. It's, you have a festival show and then you have a concert show, part of this tour. Maybe what's the difference? Is there really a difference, do you think? Or what can people expect when they come to the show on May 9th from the Newsboys?
I think our shows are pretty consistent, but I think the difference in a festival is sometimes you don't get to play as long. Like our evening with Newsboys, whether we have an opener or not, usually we'll have one, maybe two openers, but we're usually like the show starts at 7. We're on stage by like 7:40, and then we play for a couple hours. So you get to hear the whole variety of Newsboys songs. And I think the guys would always say, if you don't like a song, just wait a couple minutes because it'll change. But you get to hear hopefully your favorite song or one of them,
Hmm.
throughout the night, and you'll hear stuff from all the way back in the day. You'll hear some fresh new stuff, and then the hits. And so we get to take you on a journey
Mm.
in this set, which I love, and get to hit on a bunch of different time periods in Newsboys history, and you get to hear our hearts a little bit, stories from the band. You'll see some old photos of the guys, and
Wow.
you get to hear each of the guys kind of talk about some stories from back in the day, like the backstage stuff that you don't
Yeah.
get to hear a lot in concerts. And so sometimes festivals are like, you're raging,
Mhm.
you're having a great time, and it's this big party. But these shows are really cool because you do get to kind of hear the story behind some of these songs, and you get to hear the hearts of the guys as well. So we love
Yeah.
just hanging out and talking from stage, and just having a great time interacting with the crowd.
Do you feel like that sometimes concerts give you a little bit more flexibility to have that interaction with the crowd than sometimes the festivals because they can be a little crazy, time sensitive, things like that? Is a show where you're able to give more to the audience? Would you say that?
Maybe. I mean, we love both because festivals, you get to play for people who might not be there just to see you, even if you're headlining. Like
Mhm.
they might not even be fans of any of the bands, but they just come out to the festival to bring their family and have a good time. And then
Mhm.
all of a sudden they're like, this music's awesome. And you
Mhm.
make new fans, and you get to connect with new people. Usually at shows, it's people who are coming to see us. And so it's a
Mhm.
different it's a little different atmosphere because most of them know most of the songs, and they're there for you, and they're excited, and so you get to go a little deeper, I would say, with the crowd because they've been on the journey with you for a certain time period. Some, fresh and recent. Some have been on this journey with us for 35, 40 years, and so it's a little different. You get to go a little deeper at a show that is just your headlining show than a festival. But the festivals, you can't match. I don't know if you can match the energy of a festival because it's just a wild, crazy party.
Yeah, yeah. Between the storms and the actual performances.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk just a little bit about ministry now. It's great to hear about the backstage stories, the ins and outs of the industry, but I want to talk a little bit about the ministry. So maybe someone that's watching this right now, maybe going through something, maybe fighting something, and I like doing these podcasts with the artists because I want to show our audience that you guys are real too. You guys have struggles. You fight every day. The enemy's not just going after the listener who's watching this, but he goes after everyone. You know what I'm saying? What would some encouragements that you would give to someone who may be struggling with something? Maybe it's an addiction. Maybe it's just a financial situation. Maybe it's a marriage. Maybe it's just life in general, that's been hit. Like, you guys have just been hit and you overcame it. You could probably speak a little bit into that. So what would you say to that listener who's probably watching right now that's just fighting right now for whatever reason is going on?
Yeah, I've definitely been through a lot of seasons just like that, whether it's financial, whether it's, the enemy trying to tear you down, putting opposition in your way. And usually it means that you're trying to do something for the kingdom, and that's his way of getting you, whether it's trying to limit your resources or, even struggling between interpersonal relationships, things like that. It's how he tears you down so that you can't do what God's wanting you to do. And I've been through it. I've been through a bunch of seasons like that. And actually this song that I wrote, How Many Times, is all about that stuff. That's my personal story. It's the story of all these seasons we go through. Sometimes we're celebrating and life is good and God's good, and we can feel that, and we see it, and we see the fruit of our labor, and it's great, and we can celebrate that. And then other seasons, which seem like more often than not is a season of loneliness, and it's struggle, and it's a lot of questions like, God, what are you doing? I cannot see you in any of this. And it's frustrating. And I've been there, and the song says, how many times have you proven that you love me? And it's about those little glimpses of hindsight that he gives me, at least, and sometimes it's years and years later where he's like, hey, you went through that because of this moment right here, or you had to go through this super difficult time to be ready for what you're about to face right now. And I've just seen it so many times where he just proves himself to be faithful. And even when you don't think he is there in life with you, he is, and he's got you, and he is walking you through this life, and he has a plan, and he has a purpose. And a lot of times I still don't understand it. I don't know why. But maybe someday I'll find out. And then, along the way, he does give me just a little bit of confirmation here and there to keep me going. And what it does is just keeps me focused on him, keeps me focused on trying to be in tune with what the Spirit says, and digging in when things get tough. And I know that's hard, and it's not what you want to hear sometimes whenever you're in that moment, but it's the only way out. It's the only way through.
No, that's so good. I appreciate you sharing that. It kind of, for me, I would think that it just reminds me of the why, of why we do what we're doing, and maybe the listener or viewer that's watching right now that's struggling and can't understand why. Well, it's like you said earlier, it's probably because you're doing something for the kingdom and the enemy doesn't want you doing it. And you just got to remember that why to fight through it, and, like every struggle, you got to go through a test, and you can't have a testimony without a test. So that's kind of what I've always said. But man, Adam, it has been great. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Definitely. Well, thanks so much for having me on.